Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me in another video. So I thought today we'd talk about Celine. I feel it's been a while since I talked about Celine, maybe it hasn't, but I used to talk about the brand a lot more, create a lot more content around the brand, but of course Celine is currently in this transitional stage. There isn't a whole lot of buzz. So I thought we'd talk about some recent bags, not a whole lot, but I thought we'd talk about them anyways. What actually prompted me to make this video was we saw this preview image of Michael Ryder's debut collection, which is going to be July 6th. I'm very excited to see what comes down the runway. And it seems like he's in keeping with what Eddie used to do, like show collections off season. You wouldn't really see his collections during typical fashion week. So this is in between men's fashion week and couture. It's a little bit different, but I would say Celine has kind of kept things quiet. There hasn't been a whole lot of buzz around the brand. Of course, Eddie Celine left the brand last October. It was immediately announced that Michael Ryder would take the lead as creative director, and prior to that he was at Polo Ralph Lauren and was at Celine during the Phoebe Philo years. Prior to that he was with Nicolas Gasquier at Balenciaga. Considering the stylistic direction Celine has been going for, I think his background, it makes sense why he is now leading the brand. But I feel like I hope to learn more about him, what he's about. Of course he comes from Polo, so there was a style he was doing there, but Polo is more or less like a diffusion line under Ralph Lauren. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of like interview or something to tell us who he is. I remember when Eddie joined, I forget where, but I remember there was like this really long interview. Someone that rarely does interviews. Phoebe, when she joined, there was like a interview with the Gentlewoman. Even for some of these pretty press-averse designers, we did get something, and I think as Celine has been very quiet recently, I think there needs to be hopefully some kind of like push to tell us who he is. But we did get a preview of this image of a wrapped box, a scarf in this cream, and then it's got this black trim and it says Celine Paris. Then in text, Celine Paris Printemps 2026, the date and time of the show. They're inviting you to watch the show. It'll be available live online. They also mention a special thanks to Emiko Oguri, who's someone that is known for the art of gift giving in the Japanese tradition. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here with this preview. But I'm very curious to see how this nods to the collection. I thought because we haven't talked about Celine, we would take a look at some of the bags. By the way, what we are seeing here and a lot of the creative images that we have been seeing, this is from the design team. This is not Michael Ryder, this is not Eddie Celine, this is from this like limbo period. And I'm gathering that's what a lot of these bags are as well. One of the bags that stood out to me was this braided pannier bag. I think Celine has always had a great range of basket bags. This is different in that the Triomphe, it's a little bit more subtle. Unlike the contrasting leather patch, this just feels less in your face, but it's still there. I actually think it's quite a cute summer bag. I think the circular handles, they work really well. I think with like the design elements of the logo, I think it's actually quite a like nice design. Another bag that they've had for some time now, but we're seeing it in new iterations. I'm just looking at the what's new section at Celine. They have this Clara bag, but now it's in this raffia. Also this calfskin grain leather. Quite a cute little bucket bag with drawstring. I like the little like leather sort of like pointed drawstring. Got just like a cute little small logo there. And then another style that seems relatively new is the Teen Honoring bag in canvas. It's this domed zippered bag. I think it's more or less like an alternative to a Louis Vuitton Alma or an Hermes Bolide. Another style is the focal shoulder bag in Triomphe canvas and calfskin. I feel like I've seen a similar design on the men's side. So now they also have the medium Cami 16. They introed this Cami 16 style in the smaller version. Now we have it in the medium. The dimensions look actually quite generous. It looks like you could potentially fit a 13-inch laptop, although not sure about the clasp. Like maybe you would have to leave that undone. What's nice about this is there's two strap options. It's got a nice slouchy drape to it. Very chic, very understated. We've also got this other new style, the Cami Shoulder 16. Interesting, it comes in this python glitter as well, but just for the plain leather, it's priced at 3,000 USD. And I know that luxury has gone through crazy price increases, but I don't know, in my mind, I feel like these Y2K leather shoulder bags, I feel like they're usually on the lower end, but it does come with a chain strap. I feel like these chain straps, they're pretty just standard chain straps. I would just love it if Celine took the same kind of approach to looking at their vintage designs with these chains when it comes to their jeans and their skirts, and applied that to some of their handbags, the chain straps, just because this is just like a chain strap you can buy on Amazon. Probably more substantial and weighted and better made, but it just feels like I've seen this chain strap so many times. For $3,000, it should feel like a little bit more considered. I also feel like we've been seeing a lot of these Y2K shoulder bags at this point. $3,000, I feel like that is quite high, but maybe because it's also a part of the 16 line, which is on the premium end. I think it's cool that they're bringing it in this python glitter and also comes in this rice and black as well. Now there's this other style, the Celine Couffin bag. Now they've had this bag before, but I don't know if it's just like the striping or the logo placement or them together doesn't do it for me personally. What we're also seeing is how the brand is just bringing in summer versions, summer materials, you know, the Tilly and this raffia, or this raffia and the Lola. Styles we've seen before, but just for their summer collection, we have these materials. The Lulu, another style that they've been promoting. We've talked about this previously. Like, it's fine. It's like a cute little bag, but it's, again, I feel we've seen styles like this before. For the men's section, they have this new style, crossbody bag, hairy ingrained calfskin. I think probably my favorite from what we've seen recently is this braided pannier bag. I think this is probably the cutest bag. Outside of the existing line, of course, I love a lot of the like core bags that they have, but we haven't really seen a lot in terms of buzz around shows, around collections. It does feel like the brand is in limbo. It does feel like there really needs to be some kind of defined vision for the brand, and I'm really excited to see what Michael Ryder brings. I think Celine as a brand, it doesn't necessarily need to have a loud creative direction or vision, but I think it needs to have one that is very confident. Even just if I think about how when Eddie Slimane, sometimes designers do this, they'll like, you know, give us like before a show, like give us a hint of what we're going to see, and he previewed the show with the Celine 16 bag, and it wasn't really the bag of the time. It was more about like, what was it, 2018? It was all about like logo mania and like loud logos, and he gave us this bag. It's clearly a style that they're still doing to this day, and I think sticking with something and having like confidence in what you do and believing what you do is, I hope, what we see from Michael Ryder. Like, I'm really hopeful that we get to see something really exciting this Sunday. As someone that does miss the previous eras, I want to give him time to show his vision. I don't want to be a hater is what I'm saying. Like, I really actually want to like this, but we'll see. That's my video for today. Thank you so much for joining me in another one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.